Hi everyone, it's Miss Chandler, and today we're going to talk about reading and interpreting graphs. Your I can statement for this lesson is I can read and interpret data in a bar graph and a pictograph. What we're going to do is before we start the slides presentation in this lesson, we have a little video to watch together. Part 1, Reading and Interpreting Graphs.
All right, today our focus in math is when you have something and you want to know how much you have, especially when compared to how much you have of something else. And to do that, we're going to use a pictograph and a bar graph to find exactly the amount we have and how much there is compared to something else. What we're going to focus on is called a pictograph. As it sounds like, pic is like picture. And in this case, you can see we use pictures to show how many things we have. So right there, a pictograph is made up of pictures. Now, when you look at a pictograph, you're going to see a couple different things. First off, there's always a title that tells you what this pictograph is showing you. Number of strawberries with each student. You're also going to see a list of things to the side here showing how many things each person has. In this case, it's people. In other cases, it could be companies or cities or really anything that might own something or have something. So in this case, we have Margaret, Susan, Maria, and Dorothy. Finally, and this one's really important, you're going to have a key. And that key is going to show you how much each picture stands for. So in this case, one strawberry stands for actually two strawberries. So whenever you see a strawberry, this actually counts as two strawberries, two strawberries, two strawberries, just like that there. Knowing that, if we looked at our list, let's look at Susan. We have two different strawberries, 1 and 2. Each of those stands for two strawberries. So that means she has 4 strawberries because each strawberry stands for 2. Same thing with Maria. We've got 3 here. I know each one of them is worth 2 because it says so down here. So 2, 4, 6, if I add all of those 2 together. So when you think of a pictograph, you have to think about what are the pictures showing me? How many are there? And what does each picture stand for? How many does it stand for? Now next, let's go to our bar graph. Truth. With a bar graph, you're going to find some things that are similar and some things that are different. The similar things are you have a title at the top, and the title tells you what we're looking for, and that's colors students wanted for classroom. On the side here now, there's something a little bit different. With a bar graph, these are the numbers that will count for how much somebody has. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Sometimes it'll go up by 1s, sometimes it'll go up by 5s, but it's going to go up in numbers. Now, unlike the pictograph, at the bottom here is where you're going to find the different things that we'll be counting. In this case, it's colors, yellow, blue, green, and red. Now, to find out how much there is, you need to look at both the color, green, and then find out where the bar graph goes to. It stops right here, which goes all the way to the number 8. So when it says colors students wanted for the classroom, it's safe to say that 8 students, because of over here, wanted to have green. Try the same thing with red. We go to red, we find where it ends, Draw that line over. 6 people wanted red. Now here's the more difficult ones. We'll talk about blue. Blue ends here and it's not on a line. So that means it's between 2 and 4. It's between 2 and 4. And what number becomes between 2 and 4? Well, that would have to be 3. So in this case, this bar graph is showing you how much someone has, and you have to look over to see where the bar ends and what number that would stand for.
Let's talk about the different types of graphs. What does it mean to read and interpret data? Once data has been put into a pictograph or a bar graph, we read it. That means we look at the title, the labels in each category to understand what it is telling us. In pictographs, you have your title, you have labels, so weekday and number sold are your 2 labels. You have categories. You have 4 categories here, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Remember, categories are kind of like the choices that you can choose from. And you have your key. Remember, that's really important to pay attention to in a pictograph because that tells you how many each picture is worth. In a bar graph, you have your title. You have your labels. So here, number of votes and snacks. Those are your 2 labels. You have your categories or choices, which are popcorn, crackers, trail mix, cheese, vegetables, and fruit. Reading pictographs. Read the title. What is the pictograph about? It's about packages of donuts sold. Read the categories. What do the categories tell us? Categories are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so we know that the packages of donuts were sold on these days. Read the key. How many donuts does each picture represent? This is important because it's easy to slip up and count by ones. The key says that each donut represents 2 packages, so there would be 2, 4 on Thursday. Interpreting pictographs. What does interpret mean? It means to explain the meaning of the information. What can we interpret here? We know the days the packages were sold. We know that the least amount of donuts was sold on Thursday because that only has 2 donuts. We know the most amount of donuts was sold on Saturday. We know that more packages were sold on the weekend than on Thursday and Friday, because Saturday and Sunday together had more than Thursday and Friday had together. Let's switch to bar graphs. Read the title and labels. What is the bar graph about? So we have beach day trip items. We have the number of students. This one doesn't have a label down here, but I know that by reading towels, sunscreen, drinks, food, water, sand toys, sunglasses, and flip-flops. Reading that combined with beach day trip items and number of students makes me think that these are the items that the students brought to the beach. Read the categories. What do the categories tell us? Well, that's kind of what we just went over, that these kind of tell us the different items that the students brought to the beach. Interpreting bar graphs. Remember, to interpret a bar graph means to explain the meaning of the information. What can we interpret? Well, we know the items the students brought to the beach: towel, sunscreen, drinks, food, water, sand toys, sunglasses, and flip-flops. We know that most students usually bring sunscreen and towels because they have the most. We know that most students do not bring flip-flops and sunglasses because those have the least. We also know that only some students bring drinks and food when they go to the beach. Only some, because only, let's see here, 8 to 12, so that would be 10. So only 10 students bring drinks and only 6 students usually bring food.